Thanks to everyone who have subscribed. If you have not, please do. And thanks for coming out here. I really appreciate you. The new chief of staff to Buhari, GAMABARI, clashes with boss MUSTAPHA over sack of TCN MD as Labour back federal government. Hello, my people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. The cracks on the wall has begun to show. Mr. Professor GAMABARI, I beg your pardon, and Boss MUSTAPHA, the secretary to the Federation, are in clashes already. My people, this is just the beginning of the many sagas to come, and we'll keep you informed as many, feel threatened by the presence of the new chief of staff. Let's get to the news and get all the details. The secretary to the ministry, the secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss MUSTAPHA, and the new chief of staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, Professor Ibrahim GAMABARI, are in dispute. Their recent clash was orchestrated by the sack of the former managing director of Transmission Company of Nigeria, Mr. Usman Mohammed. The Minister of Power, Mr. Salami Malam, through the office of the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim GAMABARI, sought his removal. The request for the removal of the Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Mr. Gar Mohammed, came the following his misconduct. In response to the request, the Chief of Staff to the President replied with a letter addressed to the Minister of Power. In the letter, he said that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the immediate removal of the appointment of the former managing director of the TCN. The letter also recommended the appointment of one Mr. Shaw Abazi as the new managing director to the Transmission Company of Nigeria. He is to serve in the acting capacity pending the submission of the new list of the board and managing committee to the TCN by the power minister to the president. However, upon the sacking of the former MD of the TCN, the secretary to the government of the Federation, Mr. Boss MUSTAPHA, is not comfortable with the process. Consequently, he has pitched a hole in his removal, saying that it doesn't follow due process. Sadiq to this request and disagreement, he claimed that he was not in consultation when the MD of the TCN was going to be sacked. Therefore, the SFG has released a circular in order to school the president and his chief of staff. On the letter, he stated what should be the normal process when the head of the agency of the government is to be removed on the grounds of serious misconduct. On his circular, the SGF, Mr. Boss MUSTAPHA, said the removal of the former managing director of the TCN is abrose. He claimed that such method of removal head of government agency has attacked various attack consequently on the stability of such agency. It will therefore affect the ability to deliver effectiveness and satisfactory reports. Boss MUSTAPHA stated that when an erring officer of the executive committee is in a serious misconduct, it is the duty of the supervising minister to write to the governing body of that agency. The minister must write through the permanent secretary of the affected agency for necessary action. Then at this point, it is the duty of the board of the affected agency to issue a query to the embittered officer. Then the alleged erring officer will have to answer to the query as issued on the basis of his feed of misconduct. Following this due process, the board must forward their findings and recommendation to the supervising minister for onward consideration. Even at that junction, the supervising minister cannot act literally. He should refer it should prefer the report to the board of the Secretary of the Federation. Once the Secretary of the Federation receives the report, he must act immediately. The minister must consequently and constitutionally be an independent body to investigate the alleged misconduct of the office. And upon completion of the independent investigation, the Secretary to the Federation would advise the President on further actions to be taken. He argued that no minister has the power to remove the head of any agency without going through the normal disciplinary processes. These disciplinary processes must be approved by the President. Meanwhile, a report contradicted his claim that the action of removing the TCN managing director was illegal. The source, who didn't want its identity to be revealed, said the action of boss Mustapha is a direct insult to the president. The source said it was the president who ordered the removal of Mr. Gar Mohammed through the Ministry of Power, Information and Day Sun City. A source which said that the President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered all correspondence to pass through his chief of staff. It frowned at the SGF action, calling it an affront on both the president and his new chief of staff. On their other hand, the Nigerian Labour Congress has punched Boss Mustapha's action. This is done on a letter to President Muhammadu Buhari signed by the General Secretary of Labour, Mr. Uman Abubakar Dagra. The Labour movement was perplexed over the fact that the action of the SFG is targeted on bringing down the sacked MD. They vowed that the labor union in power sector will not fail to embark on strike if the former managing director of TCN is recalled. The union used the opportunity to urge Mr. President to reinstate their president, Mr. Chris Okonkwo. Mr. served with the Senior Staff Association of Electricity, an alleged company. Unfortunately, his appointment was wrongly terminated. According to Uman, he warned that Labour will take action if their requests are attended to appropriately. This letter queries why the SGF boss Mustapha is trying to retain the minister helplessly in this ministerial office. The union accused boss Mustapha of trying to make the minister depend on him before they can take action on their supervising ministers. In a related development, the national coordinator of the union, Mr. Musa Dipo, in a community signed registrar information, has initiated President Muhammadu Buhari's request to Boss Mustapha special interest in the power sector, nudging that the SGF have been working round the clock to reinstate the sacked MD since his removal. This dismissal of the former chief of staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, late Mr. Abba Kyari, President Muhammadu brought about the appointment of Professor Ibrahim Gambari as the new chief of staff. Gambari is known to have allegedly loyal to his superior. He is expected to work with the president to deliver diversity in the democracy of Nigeria. So my people, now waiting they happen exactly, truly, and really be this. So Boss Mustapha is at loggerheads right now as we speak with Muhammadu Buhari with regards to the new chief of staff. So the new chief of staff is alleged to be taking powers into his hands, and the power tussle has just started. Boss Mustapha has gone ahead to school President Muhammadu Buhari on what the legal and normal matters and how things are supposed to play out. He's supposed to take permission. Things are supposed to be done properly. There's supposed to be inquiry. They are supposed to go from one stage to the other and final recommendation here and there. And so the matter is still ongoing. Buhari has been asked to look into the secretary to the minister of the federation to see exactly what is happening, why Boss Mustapha is so interested interested in this MD, my people, please stay tuned as we'll be keeping you informed on more informations on all that is going on. We'll keep keeping you on. We keep, feeding you on all that is going on in Nigeria and around the world. With regard to the new chief of all that is happening, we will keep you informed. We'll keep you to let you know all that is happening. I want to say a big thank you to all of you out there. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you. Have a good day and bye for now.